I'm back. I was away for a while, but we're back. More Mandela Effects coming your way now. Hello everyone, welcome back. Jeff Pilkington at Launch TV. Here at Launch TV, we are the future, and the future is Launch TV. Now, I was away for a little bit because I was way out in the desert, and I was on a movie, and I was having fun, and that's why I grew the beard going on a little bit, which was good times, because we all like making movies out here in crazy Hollywood in Los Angeles. That's what we do. It is just a fun time. But I could not resist making a Mandela Effect video. In fact, I was always like, I just have to go back to my office and make a Mandela Effect video, because I'm like addicted to making Mandela Effect videos. It's like people have different problems. It's like I'm addicted to Mandela Effect because of you guys, because I have to keep making these fun videos, which you love watching, which I try to make weekly, and we try to speculate over what's real and what's fake and what is going on in this crazy 2019 world. With that being said, please subscribe, please like this video. I hope you like all the videos that I do. Click the red button below. Subscribers help, comments. I try to respond to your comments. I need to respond to comments from the last video, but I will. All the other ones I've always tried to respond to as many as I possibly can. So thank you for commenting, thank you for subscribing, thank you for liking. With that being said, let's get going. Mandela Effects, we have a bunch today. The first one is McGruff the Crime Dog. Now, we all remember the detective McGruff. He was a dog that walked around and solved crimes, and he was on TV. People remember McGruff having a hat. Do you remember McGruff, the crime dog, wearing a hat? Because he doesn't wear a hat, and he never wore a hat, and you can Google it, and it looks weird, the dog walking around without a hat, because I feel like I remember the hat and the trench coat too. McGruff, the crime dog, do you remember him wearing a hat? Let me know, because this is like the Carmen Sandiego one. Like, Carmen Sandiego has a red coat, and I remember a yellow coat. Like, that's weird to me. And now we've got McGruff, the crime-fighting dog, missing his hat. Let me know if you remember that or what the deal is there, because that's just strange to me. Okay, Vikings. People remember Vikings. Now, we all know the horns coming out of Vikings helmets. And of course, thinking of NFL Vikings, we know the horns. We all know Vikings have horns, though, in their hats, in their helmets, and while they're fighting, we know the horns. The problem is the horns didn't come about until the 1800s. The original Vikings didn't even have horns. That's all just a very recent thing in the past couple centuries. Now, do you think that's true? Because people remember learning in school that the Vikings always had horns. What do you remember? Horns for the Vikings or no horns for the Vikings? Because it's actually a quite recent thing in the past couple hundred years, these horns came about. It wasn't during when they were making invasions in the 1800s. They came about in Sweden's Gustav Malmström in one of his paintings. He painted them on their raids in the 19th century. That's when they came about, and it was in the 1800s. Yeah, and they really only cemented into our consciousness in the 1870s in one of this guy Wagner's paintings, Der Ring des Neblugen. So apparently horns only came about in the 1800s when, some painters put them into paintings and they were popularized in that way. Sweden's Gustav Malmström painted them, and then also in the 1870s, Wagner in his Der Ring des Neblugen. Both of those popularized the horns. Before then, they didn't even exist. There were no horns. They didn't even have horns when they were doing their raids. So this is a fairly recent thing in the past couple centuries. What do you remember about Vikings horns? Let me know in the comments below, because that one seems strange. Okay, Outkast. We all know the rapper Outkast, and he's had a lot of famous songs, one of which is Miss Jackson. Sorry, Miss Jackson, I am for real. Now, there's a specific lyric in this song that people remember it as being a certain way, and it's not that way anymore. And the exact lyric is, never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize a blank times. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize times. How many times? I remember being 1,000 times. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize 1,000 times. Problem is, if you look back at the lyrics, it's actually 1,000,000,000,000 times. So when did 1,000 become 1,000,000,000,000? Because it was always 1,000 for me. I apologize 1,000 times. It's now 1,000,000,000,000. What happened there? That is very strange. Like, how did Miss Jackson go switching around? This is one of those weird lyrics ones. Like, the lyrics ones just are crazy. Bizarre. Let me know what you remember about that one, because that's pretty weird. Okay, now we all know the Monopoly Monopoly Man, and the Monopoly Man's monocle disappeared strangely, and we're wondering what happened to the Monopoly Man's monocle because it just walked away. Like, where did it go? Well, now the Pringles Man, who also I remember having a monocle, disappeared. The Pringles Man no longer has a monocle. I remember the Pringles Man having a monocle too. So now we're 2 monocles down. Now the Peanuts Man still has a monocle. So Peanuts Man has a monocle, Pringles Man's no longer has a monocle, and Monopoly Man no longer has a monocle. So 2 out of 3 monocles have walked away. Peanuts Man better watch it because this is gonna go away too. So monocles are disappearing all over the place. Let's keep going. Okay, this one just freaks me out. It's an old one. People know it. JC Penney. We all know JC Penney. That E just looks weird, okay? It was always JC Penney, P-E-N-N-Y. An E has been inserted in JC Penney. That doesn't look right. It was never that way. That just looks awkward. When I would go to JC Penney as a kid with my parents, I would always see it P-E-N-N-Y. Why is an E inserted? Strange. Bizarre. What's happening there? Okay, let's keep going. Fortune cookies. Have you ever had a fortune cookie? We all love fortune cookies. Where did fortune cookies originate? I remember fortune cookies originating in China. Yes, of course. They were like a dessert. You know, you get a fortune cookie and you get your fortune. They came from China. Nope. Apparently, they originated in the United States. They don't even eat fortune cookies that much in China. That's like a myth. It's like an American thing. It's like San Francisco, they started having them, and then it's spread throughout the U.S. They were never really originated in China. It's not a Chinese thing. I mean, they have them there a little bit because Americans do, but that's strange because we in America always thought they came from China. They never came from China. So, whoa, like, what? Is that like a razzle-dazzle history change? Because I always thought they came from China. Like, what's going on with fortune cookies? Apparently, fortune cookies, according now to history in this timeline, they originated in the USA. Fortune cookies did not originate in China. When did that happen? Whoa, like, whew. Bizarre. All right, let's keep going. Joel Osteen. This is one of those spellings. Now, the famous American pastor Joe Osteen, who's done very well for himself, I always remember it being spelled Joel, O-L-S-T-E-E-N. Joel Osteen, right? With an O, with an L. Joel Osteen. Nope. If you Google it now, it's just Joel Osteen. The L has walked away. There's no L in Joel Osteen's name, the American pastor. Where did the L in his name go? I always remember that L. It was always there. Joel Olsteen. I've heard the name a million times. I've seen it a million times. The L has suddenly disappeared. It's like Dan Aykroyd and Sean William Scott and Kate Beckinsale and all these people's names are changing. Whew! Just drives me crazy. Does it drive you crazy too? Because I just can't even. I'm gonna have to go back to the movie because this just is like I start getting worked up over these things. Okay, next one. Vin Diesel. Do you remember Vin Diesel? Because people have a memory of the actor Vin Diesel coming out as gay. Do you remember Vin Diesel being gay? Because Vin Diesel says he's not gay. He was never gay, and he never came out as gay. But people remember him coming out as gay. What do you remember with that? Because that's a little strange. I do kind of remember that, but Vin Diesel apparently is not gay. What do you remember on that one? Let me know. Okay, Magic Kingdom. People have memory in the intro Disney projects. They remember Tinkerbell coming in and kind of dipping her magic wand on the Disney logo, and now apparently she never does it. At the beginning of Disney films, you don't see her fly in and ding the logo anymore. That disappeared. But people also have a memory of the Magic Kingdom at Disney World. They remember walking through the castle to get into the Magic Kingdom. They remember the castle being at the entrance, not further back in the park. Apparently it's always been further back in the park, but people remember walking through the castle at the entrance to the Magic Kingdom, walking through it to get in. But apparently it's always been further back in the park. What do you remember? Where do you remember the castle being? Because that one's been affecting people a lot lately. Okay, Baloo, the Jungle Book. Now, we've all seen the Jungle Book, and there's this dance that Baloo did. The Jungle Book came out in the 1960s. It's favorite kids film. There's been various Mandela effects around it, but people remember Baloo doing a dance, and he had like a skirt. He had a skirt on, and then they remember him having a bra on, and the bra being coconuts, a coconut bra. But when you look back at it now, the bra is missing. People specifically remember that coconut bra that Baloo danced with, and it's now disappeared. It's not there anymore. There's no trace of it. Do you remember the coconut bra that Baloo wore? Because apparently it has just walked away. That's very strange. Like, where did Baloo's coconut bra go? Bizarre. People remember that. Okay, let's do one or two more here. Okay, let's do the food pyramid. pyramid. Now, the food pyramid, everyone remembers the food pyramid, but people remember it going way back, that it was around in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. No, the food pyramid never came around until 1992. They started teaching it. People are like, what? Like, that's just bizarre. It was introduced by the USDA in 1992, and then kids in schools started learning about it. People are like, I remember the food pyramid happening way before that. I learned about it in school. How was it only introduced in 1992? People are like, that's just strange. I'm not sure about that one. I'll tell you what affects me. The Baloo one affects me for sure. Vikings is weird. Outkast, sorry, Miss Jackson is weird. The Disney Magic Castle a little bit. The McGruff Crime Dog's weird. All strange. Let's do one or two more. Okay, let's get two big ones. The last one, Tiger Woods. Let's get to Tiger Woods. Now, people remember Tiger Woods appearing on the show that was a hit in the 90s and 80s and 90s, American Gladiators. That's where they would have like these big, whatever they were called, swords, and they'd try to knock each other off. They were like padded swords, and they'd do like obstacle courses and such. But people remember Tiger Woods before he was a golfer at age 18 or 19 appearing on the show. And so many people have remembered this, him being an American Gladiator before he was a golfer, that people have been calling the executive producer of the show. They've literally been calling the executive producer of the show. And this got popularized very recently. There was a Slate article, and Ian Johnson, who's the brother of Slate designer Derek Johnson, has this memory so vividly that he actually remembers the course. He remembers it was an assault course, which is the title of the course within American Gladiators. That's weird because golf course are things like blending. Whoa, like what's happening there? Assault course, it was the assault course, and he said he was so scrawny, and it was Tiger Woods, and it was before he was a golfer. And then when Tiger Woods' first interview as a golfer, he's like, I remember that guy from American Gladiators. And Johnson, who's the brother of Slate designer Derek Johnson, actually called different contestants. Because he was so into this, he actually called, let's see, who did he call? He called the Gladiators Zap and Nitro and actually asked them about it. Or he reached out to them, maybe an email. He reached out to both of them. And he sent an email to Nitro and he reached out to Zap. Neither Gladiator remembered the appearance of Tiger Woods. And then he also reached out to executive producer Ron Ziskin. And Ron's response, the Slate article said, was more definitive. He said, he emailed Ron Ziskin, who was the executive producer. Ron's response was, Tiger Woods did not appear on American Gladiators. However, he did say that Ian Johnson was not the first person to inquire about this. And it's an odd misconception, but that maybe 30 times Ron Ziskin, the executive producer, had heard from people claiming they had seen Tiger Woods on American Gladiators. That is so bizarre and freaky that I'm like getting goosebumps even reading about it. 30 times the executive producer of American Gladiator has heard people say they remember Tiger Woods on the show. That is freaky. Oh my gosh. Ian Johnson at Slate, or Ian Johnson's the relative of a Slate designer, remembers it so vividly. I'll put the article below. There's actually a picture here that they've done with Tiger Woods being on it. But this is like a new big one that a lot of people remember. So I'm curious, do you remember Tiger Woods, the golfer, being on American Gladiators? Wow, that is wild. Okay, so that's a big one I wanted to break to you guys today. And then let's see, what else? One more, let's do Buddha. Buddha, now I think this is a misconceived one. People remember Buddha being fat. Apparently, when really he's always been skinny. Now, there's Gautama. He was one of the incarnations of the same being, okay? And there was also another 10th century monk in China called Budai, but he in Budai was a fat laughing guy. So people might be misconstruing these reincarnations, these different versions of Buddha in different centuries. Like people are confusing Budai, who actually was fat, with the actual Buddha who was always skinny. But people say they remember the actual Buddha being skinny. Do you remember Buddha being fat or skinny? What's going on with that? Because people are like, I remember Buddha being skinny, or people remember him being this big fat guy, but he's always been skinny. Buddha has always been skinny, but people remember him being fat. But they could be confusing him with this Budai guy, who was a fat laughing guy. Do you remember Buddha being fat or skinny? He's always been skinny, but people remember Buddha being fat. What's your remembrance of that? Okay, folks, that is all we have for today. Man, that must have been like 10 10 of them. We had to catch up. I had to give you some good ones. All these people in the Mandela Effect are rambling on about it, but I've got good ones for you always. Hopefully more next week. I will keep you posted. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I am going to the Rams game, Los Angeles Rams. Enjoy your day, enjoy your week, and I will see you next time. Later.